Welcome, friends. It doesn't matter if you're a healthcare provider or a content creator. There are things that you can learn from global business. I'm Ralph Rathburn, and on the Biz Life Global channel, I share with you my global business and life experiences, and hopefully from them you can take some hints that will help you enrich your own business and life. If you sell product, you're probably familiar with the term early adopter. Those are the people who need to have the newest products, the latest technology, cutting edge, bleeding edge. Those people are generally very comfortable with uncertainty. So today I want to talk about uncertainty and how people fit on a scale of uncertainty avoidance and how that affects the way that they make decisions. The uncertainty avoidance scale measures how threatened that people feel by things that are uncertain or unknown. The more you feel threatened, the higher you are on the scale. The less you feel threatened, the lower you are on the scale. Now, America is more comfortable with uncertainty than about 80% of the countries for which Geert Hofstede has data. Now, countries are able to be plotted onto this scale based upon the average for their citizens. And America's about in the middle of the scale, but as I said, it's more comfortable with uncertainty than about 80% of all the other cultures. But today, I don't want to talk about the differences between cultures. I want to talk about the differences within America. Because even though we are more comfortable than most of the people, most of the cultures that are out there, that means that only about 70% or so of the people in America are comfortable with uncertainty. A quarter to a third of the people in America are actually very uncomfortable with uncertainty. The differences within America in how we deal with uncertainty impact how we respond to the data that the scientists and that the CDC is presenting to us. For people who are uncomfortable with uncertainty, the problem's kind of baked into the scientific method itself. The scientific method is a process, it's a system where we try to come up with our best guess explanations for what's happening based upon the information that we currently have available. So if the information changes, those best guess explanations can also change. In other words, science is about probabilities, not certainties. Not everybody has to agree, not every research paper has to come up with the same data for the scientific community to say, based on everything that we know, this is what we think is happening. And the scientific method is designed to say, we believe this to a 95% or a 99.5% degree of confidence. Yes, it's possible that maybe something else is going on, but this is likely what's happening. But for people who are very uncomfortable with uncertainty, a 95% confidence level or a 99.5% confidence level is not a 100% confidence level. And that can cause stress and anxiety for someone who needs certainty. So let's look at some decision making that has to be made based upon scientific or medical information and how people who are on different places on the uncertainty avoidance scale may respond to the same set of data. Take the information on side effects, for example. So there is a set of data. Medical facilities are required to report any side effects, any adverse events that happen after they give someone a shot. Now, that adverse event could be hives, it could be blood clots, it could be death. They're required to report it. and the CDC is required to share that information. There's a link in the description that will let you see the most recent information from the CDC. The information that I've been able to find shows that somewhere between 2 and 5 people per million have an extreme allergic reaction to getting the shot. And about 3 people in a million had blood clots after getting the J&J shot. Now, that's about the odds that you have of getting struck by lightning in any given year. Unfortunately, about 7,218 people have died after getting the shot. That is approximately the number of pedestrians who were killed by being struck by a car in the US last year. Those are just data points. Let's talk about how people on different points of the uncertainty avoidance scale will respond to those pieces of information. Remember those early adopters we were talking about at the beginning of the video? Those people were probably in line for the vaccines as soon as the CDC announced that the vaccines were available. People who are perhaps less comfortable than the early adopters, but generally more comfortable with uncertainty, could look at that information that we talked about earlier about side effects and say, there's information that shows that these are side effects, that these things happen after the shots are given, but the scientists are saying they're not exactly sure why those are happening or if indeed the shots are what are causing it. And so they may feel comfortable. Or they may say, the odds of having one of these negative side effects are so low that it's worth it to me to take that risk for the benefit of the shot. The benefit being not getting a serious case of the disease. Politicians, scientists, and journalists are really good at communicating with those kind of people in ways that they find persuasive. Because politicians, scientists, and journalists, generally speaking, are people who are fairly comfortable with uncertainty. So they're talking to people like them. On the other hand, people who are uncomfortable with uncertainty may look at that same set of data, those same presentations and information and say, wait a minute. There are all sorts of negative things that are happening. And the scientists and the doctors are saying, we don't know why. We're not sure what's happening. Doesn't that cause you to wonder? Doesn't that make you feel like maybe I ought not do this because the scientists don't know what's happening? Or they might say, 7,000 people, more than 7,000 people have died. And again, the scientists are saying they're not sure why that happened. They don't know. I think that I'm going to wait until you do know. I'm going to wait until you are certain, because this is my life we're talking about. And I'm not willing to risk my life and my health if you guys don't know, if you're not certain that the benefits outweigh the risks. To that, the doctors, the scientists, the journalists respond, but think about the risk. Right now, with the Delta variant, 99.5% of the people who are hospitalized are unvaccinated. And the people who are uncomfortable with uncertainty are going to say, but every day in the news, you tell me about breakthrough cases. And if 99.5% of the people in the hospital are there unvaccinated, that means that some of the people who got sick enough to be hospitalized were vaccinated. And again, The doctors don't know why. The scientists can't tell me why this person got sick after getting vaccinated and that person didn't. The doctors and scientists will never come out and say, this is 100% true. We are certain that this is the case. Instead, they'll say, this is the best recommendation that we can come up with now based on the information that we currently have. And if the information changes, our recommendation may change. And in fact, they have. And that leads people who are uncomfortable with uncertainty to say, see, you were wrong before. Why should I believe you now? And return to that statement made earlier of, I'm going to wait until you guys know what's going on. Because right now it seems like y'all don't know what's happening. Note, there's no correlation between intelligence and uncertainty avoidance. Just because someone is uncomfortable with uncertainty doesn't mean they're not smart. The problem is that the politicians, the scientists, and the journalists all treat them as if they're not. So instead of speaking in ways that these people find persuasive, the scientists, doctors, the politicians, and the journalists just keep yelling the same information over and over again. When it comes to persuasion, people who are uncomfortable with uncertainty are more often affirmatively persuaded by people that they already know and trust. They're less likely to be persuaded by strangers who are coming at them with just logic and science. But they can be negatively persuaded by just about anyone who is able to increase their level of uncertainty about something. And that's why the people who are just asking questions but providing no answers are so able to convince people not to do something. For some people who are high on the uncertainty avoidance scale, the FDA approval of the vaccines will go a long way to helping them feel this necessary sense of certainty that will allow them to go ahead and get the vaccine. For others, company or government mandates may also provide a type of certainty. Others may have different needs. Today's healthcare example is just one way that you can see how being on different places on the uncertainty avoidance scale can impact decision making. People who are on one side of the scale or the other may not understand the decision making that is being made by someone who's on a different place than they are on that scale. If you don't understand why someone is making a different decision from the one that you would make based on the same information, it may be that they are responding to uncertainty differently from the way that you do. If this video has given you some hints that you can use in your personal or business life, please hit the like button. It will help other people find the video so that they too might be able to get some value from it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you back here soon. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and please share this video.